Hello. I hope you guys can hear this. I'm jamming. I hope you can hear me as well. I'm using my new microphone. Just getting set up. Oh. Okay, it's getting all set up. Welcome in. Welcome back. Let's make this all quiet. I don't even know if you guys could hear it, but I was jamming. Also, if you're here, if you could just let me know if you can hear me okay. Just let me know. It's not a new microphone, but I brought my microphone back. So I'm just testing it out. So let me know if you can't hear me. I'm going to guess that you probably won't put anything in the comments, but if you can, please let me know. Hi, Martina. Can you hear me okay? Will you just let me know really quick, like a thumbs up or something? Let me know, is my voice coming through fine for you? Yay. Okay, awesome. Yeah, yesterday I realized, oh my gosh, my fan was on the whole time. I was like, oh my gosh, this is so obnoxious. So I was like, anything I can do to just make it better. So, anyways, hi ladies, welcome back. I hope you enjoyed yesterday. I would love to know, any realizations. If you want to type in the chat, any takeaways you had from yesterday. Anything around like, did you try out the exercises? Did you try out the naked looking at yourself in the mirror? The appreciation of your body, right? Did you dance? How many songs did you dance to? All the things. Oh, thank you, Giselle. I appreciate it. Yeah, so if any of you want to type in the chat what you got out of yesterday. Oh, awesome. Well, then never mind about the fan. You didn't hear it. It wasn't real. Oh my goodness. Well, I appreciate you guys. Okay, well, so yeah, if you want to share any realizations or anything that comes to you as we kind of continue on today, please feel free to share. I would love to know, right? It's one of those things really where you have to experience doing the exercises to get the benefit. It's not enough to just talk about it, right? As is with pretty much everything, but especially those exercises. I will say when I did the one where I looked at like literally my lady down there, and I just sat there with my mirror and just stared. I didn't do anything else but just stare and get to know her. And it started to move me tremendously to the point where I was like, I know this is awkward to talk about, but I have to tell the women about this because it's a really powerful exercise. And I walked away from that feeling so empowered. So I want you guys to try it too. So we're going to dive in today. If you haven't seen, the topic of today is the game of confidence. And I'm going to really dive in so that you understand how to play and what that even means and how to play so that you literally never lose. So it's going to be really fun, really juicy. It's a side of confidence that I've recently been diving into, and it's been game changer for me. So I really want to bring that to you ladies. But first, before we dive into all that, so as I mentioned yesterday, all of this is literally just such a small piece of what I'm offering, through this, right? I have so much, this is just such a small component of what I teach, what I do. And so if diving deeper with all of this is something that's been, exciting for you, kind of intriguing, and you're interested in going further, let me know. I actually, in the comments, I will go ahead and put a link to connect with me and just set up one-on-one time. It's a free call. And I'm so like, what matters to me is your clarity, and really feeling like you're getting just an understanding of how to go deeper within yourself and get value on that call, right? It's so important to me that you don't walk away from a conversation with me without value. So if you want to book a free session with me, please check out this link. Sorry, I can't type and talk at the same time. I need an assistant. Oh, okay. So let me just type that in really quick. But yeah, so, and then I'll be happy to let you know about my new upcoming the Confidence Academy program, see if you're a great fit for it. It's going to be a really intimate experience. It's one-on-one, it's also group, and I'm keeping it limited to a certain amount where it's a really special group that I feel like the energy is aligned, because that's when we get the most out of it. So anyways, if that's of interest, please let me know. We can definitely set that up. I would love to chat with you, because this stuff is so important that it's not just for me, right? It's for all of us to grow and dive deeper with. So yeah, so I'd love to connect. But let's get into it. Let's get right into it. So okay, today I want to talk about the sexy mindset of confidence. I know yesterday we really focused on the body a lot, but still with the sexy mindset of confidence, it's still a full body, spirit, mental thing. Because in order to be our full confident person, we've got to embody all the components, right? So we can't leave anything out. So yes, it's not just an internal game like I was talking about yesterday. It's a physical thing as well, but it's also a let's fully accept every single part of my being is what allows it to be, to really be that full confident self. So we've got to go here, right? We've got to talk about it. So, and also keep in mind too, it's usually as we're becoming more confident, as we're rising into these new levels within ourselves, it's going to be us against our minds. It's literally, I always say this, it doesn't matter your strategy, it doesn't matter your goals. If you do not believe you are worthy of the things that you have on your heart that you want to achieve, you're going to sabotage. It's going to be really, really hard to make it so that those things that you want come to life and actually come to form, right? And become tangible. So we've got to really connect with our minds. Our minds are 99% of the battle, right? So that's a big part of what I want to dive into today is how do we just bring some ease to the mindset of confidence and of our beings and how we operate in this world. So I'm really excited to go here. So with that, right, when it's us against our minds, it's because we're being so serious, right? We bring this uber seriousness to life sometimes, and rightfully so, right? Life can be really hard. There can be a lot of frustration points that occur, but when we are constantly living in this intensity, this seriousness, we are kind of losing sense of really what matters, and we're forgetting the trust element. And we're living in this fight or flight constantly. So the goal, right, with our mindset is getting to, just like with our bodies and our nervous system, is getting to a more centered place. And so we've really got to lean into the trust more, right? The more we can lean into trust, the more we can be more calm. We're our most confident self. I've never been in a place where I felt really, really, really confident, and I was like internally like all over the place. Like you've got to really lean into this deep relaxation, this trust. And so this is where the confidence of the feminine is a bit different than the confidence of the masculine, right? And it's okay. Both are supposed to be different. Both are supposed to embody it in their own unique ways. So so when we're talking about the feminine kind of embodiment of confidence, we're talking about this really like sense of ease, right? This playfulness, bringing in some silliness. I was talking about flirting a little bit yesterday, right? We're kind of doing, we want to step into that more as our normal way of being versus the more masculine side, right? The more masculine kind of doing, just kind of in that action all the time, right? We want to be more in that playful space, because so a lot of times what happens is in our world, when we're feeling not enough, there's this overcompensation that can happen where we start to be like, okay, so I've got to do more to be more of enough. And so what happens is there's this like constant overcompensation going on, this constant like ignoring of just like our inner like intuition, this feeling of sense of ease, right? And then what happens is there can be this like this like exhaustion that happens, right? There can be this exhaustion energy, and then this is where the issue comes in. So this is where when I'm working with people and they're coming to me and they're saying like, you know what, like they kind of give up. They give up. They're like, you know what, it's too hard. it's too hard to create and to feel confident because I feel like I'm constantly beating myself down. So, I'm fine. I'm happy as is. Things aren't too bad. Actually, you know what? I don't want that thing. I'm fine. And I was guilty of this too, right? Because it starts to feel like that when we start to go against ourselves and we start to think that as feminine beings, like we're supposed to like create this confidence through doing and all these ways that feel like they're against our natural way of being. It has us really just like wanting to say, like, throw the white flag in there and be like, I surrender, I give up, I can't, I don't want to do this anymore, right? And then what happens is we stop believing that we can have the things that we want. So then we tell ourselves we don't want these things. And then we just go further and further and further down in this deep, dark, like, hole of despair. And then we look at other people, right? And this is where the toxic, I don't want to say toxic, right? We've got to embrace these sides of us too. But this is where the feelings of maybe jealousy, right? We're like, oh, that's for other people. Success is for others, right? And we start to just go down this hole of feeling like, man, when is it my turn? And, we can't believe it becomes really hard to believe that if we just embrace this more feminine embodiment, that, we can create what we want. So the thing is, I really want you to know that all of this is just programming. It has just been your programming for so long, right? It's been just the way it is. And so now that it just becomes a more, it's like we're trying to break this cycle that has just naturally been part of our lives for so long. And so then we're like, I just don't want to do it this way anymore. And we go through this whole evolution of trying to find ourselves. And it can be this whole exhausting things. But all that being said, I say all of that to say, because I want you to know you have already got the magic inside of you. You do. There's nothing more you need to do, especially as women, especially as feminine beings. There's not more you need to do. The work is really leaning into this deep belief and trust that I've already done enough. I have already done enough, right? I'm just getting into this belief of like, I am enough. I am worthy just because I am. And realizing that the feminine is about receiving. The masculine is about providing, right? About doing, right? It's not to say that women aren't creators. We are creators, but we are meant to create through inspiration. So we don't really get a lot of inspiration when we feel forced. So we've got to so I'll dive in deeper, but basically what this leads to is what I was talking about with a sexy mindset of confidence, because confidence, yes, it is a mindset, but there's a sexy confidence that it really is about. So I would love to know in the chat, first of all, is all of this resonating? What's coming up for you, ladies? Is there any like confusion, anything I can clear up? Because I know that's a lot of little things I just kind of went into, but also I'd love to know, what do you feel personally like a sexy mindset of confidence means? Like, not just a positive mindset, right? But like, to you, what is sexy confidence mindset or a sexy mindset, right? Because it's a little bit different. And while you're maybe typing something or kind of thinking on it, I'm going to find that I have this quote that I want to share with you guys, or you gals, that I thought was really powerful. I actually posted it the other day because I was like, this is definitely a little bit of a mind like pretzel, but it was so good. So I'll read it to you guys. And if you're thinking about, what the mindset of sexy confidence means to you, please feel free to share it whenever you kind of decide, when you kind of land on something. But in the meantime, I want to read you guys this quote, because to me, and I'll explain, this to me really embodies what the true mindset of sexy confidence is all about. So let me dive in. Okay, so this quote, it says, wanting positive experience is a negative experience. Accepting negative experience is a positive experience. It's what the philosopher Alan Watts used to refer to as the backwards law. And he puts it in quotes, the backwards law. The idea that the more you pursue feeling better all the time, the less satisfied you become, as pursuing something only reinforces the fact that you lack it in the first place. The more you desperately want to be rich, the more poor and unworthy you feel, regardless of how much money you actually make. The more you desperately want to be sexy and desired, the uglier you come to see yourself, regardless of your actual physical appearance. The more you desperately want to be happy and loved, the lonelier and more afraid you become, regardless of those who surround you. The more you want to be spiritually enlightened, the more self-centered and shallow you become in trying to get there. So that's a long one, right? It's a long quote, and I'm happy to post it in the group. I'll probably do that later. But I would love to know kind of what your takeaway from that is, if you'd like to share. But when I read that, really what I view it as is the more that we force things, the more that we kind of so essentially the more that you force things, the less you are able to have it, and the less desirable you become, also magnetically, energetically, right? So the key is, just like what I've been saying, the key is really, especially as women, it's really relax and lean into trust and stop trying so hard. The sexy confidence mindset behind it all is actually kind of funny. The sexy confidence mindset is knowing that you're already enough and sexy and all the things, and you don't actually have to worry about it. So actually not focusing on it at all. Just saying, okay, I declare this is what I am. I declare, and that's it. And I don't have to do anything else. I'm it. And walking around in that headspace is really, what's going to amplify you as a confident, embodied woman. Yes, I will definitely post that, Giselle. It's definitely one where I had to look at it. It was like I heard it and then I was like, I really need to look at this visually because it's a long one, but it's really, really powerful. So before I dive into my next kind of thing here, I just want to really quick say, sexy confidence, it's this trust, right? It's this deep trust in knowing. So in order to do that, it's about really slowing down. And I talked about this yesterday, right? Slowing everything down, really bringing in the sensual experience, like heightening your senses, right? Sensuality. But also doing everything in your own time, not worrying because you don't have anything to prove. You don't have anything to rush for, right? Yes, timelines and stuff are real in the 3D world, but like for the most part, right? Like we're rushing around. There's times where I'm like, I get stressed over like trying to like finish things in a certain period of time. And I'm like, wait, why am I trying to rush so hard? I don't need to do that. And when we can stop and pause and slow ourselves down, it's amazing. It's amazing how much that actually makes you feel really empowered. Because like, wait, I'm on my own time. Like you kind of get this sense of ease, right? And then it brings you into this bigger picture, like able to really look and say, okay, this thing that I'm stressed about, does it actually matter, right? And so when we pause, it gives our clarity a chance to catch up with us. So and the more clear you feel, the more confident you feel. So you've got to give the clarity, the ability to show up. So, what else was I? Oh, okay. So moving on, I'm really, really excited. So there's a little trick. This is really the game of confidence, that I wanted to dive in with you. So really, connecting with the fact that sexy confidence is this air. It's this air about yourself, right? It's this like just belief that, everything's already done. I don't have to worry about it, leaning into the trust, right? But it's also, we need to understand how we can do that. We need to understand. So it's like, okay, I get the philosophy of it, I get the mindset of it, but then how do I actually put it into action? That's where I got stuck for a really long time. And when I came up with this concept, it really shifted so much for me, because I was finally able to feel like, oh, okay, I have an understanding of how to make my life more work for me than feel like I'm trying to just convince myself of all this stuff. So, this is my little trick for you gals that I'm so excited about. So, yes, the game of confidence, but really at the heart of it, it's seeing life as a game, right? Because confidence, we're really just trying to get to a point where we feel better in a general sense, right? We're trying to just feel better. And so how we do that was we just start realizing that you feel better by changing your approach, right? You can't keep operating the same way and expect to feel better. You've got to change your approach. You've got to change the vibe a little bit. So seeing life as a game is actually game changer. So what I want you to think of is, what if like your life was a movie? What if you were like the main character? Just, you're just the main character in your movie and everything else isn't real. What if you couldn't mess it up? And so you can't get it wrong. And everything, every part of your character is just moving exactly as you're meant to. What if you could start to believe that you're not actually in control? So you don't actually have to worry, you don't have to stress. You can lean into the trust because you're taken care of. And something bigger than you is in charge of this. And so your character, your main character, is playing exactly as it's supposed to. And even when it feels like it's going backwards, you're just gathering data in those backwards moments to then propel you even further on your path forward. So you can't get it wrong. What if you started operating from that space? How much more would you be willing to take risks? How much more would you be willing to show up bigger for yourself because you're not worried about how other people are thinking? You're not worried about how you come across. You realize, oh, wait, I am a leader in authority because I'm the main character in my life. I have to be. like I can't be it any other way. And so how much more free would you feel, right, if you started operating from that space? So in order to also really, like, let's say we're playing the game of life, right, we've also got to know how to play. You need to know the rules, because once you know the rules, right, once you know the rules, then you can kind of play with the rules a bit, and you can maybe create loopholes, and you can kind of just, even though we're not necessarily in control, you can feel like you have that control, which makes you feel safer. So, it's kind of like, you think of, like, I don't know, there's just nothing worse than like watching a sports game and having no idea what's going on. And you're just kind of sitting in the sidelines, like just trying to, like, yay, sports. But really, you want to be part of it. You're like, I want to know what they're rooting for. I want to get it. Right. That's like sometimes in our own life, it can feel like I don't get the rules. I don't get the rules. But what I want to give you the permission for today, that again, you don't need the permission, but I just want to give you this reminder that you get to make the rules of your own game. It's your game. It's your game. You get to make up the rules. So I want you to feel like you're allowed to do that. You're allowed to you're an adult. You're an adult. You're allowed to do what you want. You're not stuck, right? And the moment you feel like you are, it's just time to pause, to slow down, to reevaluate and say, well, how can I change this for myself? Get into this mode of resourcefulness versus feeling like life is happening to you, right? And yes, it takes a minute to kind of process, but once you can get to that side, you can then say, okay, so I'm ready to I'm ready to change the rules here. So I want to just share with you guys, or gals, a couple of rules that I created for my own life, my own life game. And I think it'd be fun, if you wanted to adopt these, but also just take them in, right? And think about how you could start to create your own rules in your life. And really, this gets to the heart of like the name of my company, even Design Your Life, right? Like, it's about knowing that you actually have the power to do that. You're not, for a long time, I felt like somebody else was in charge of my game and like forcing me to do the college degree that I did, forcing me to go to the college I went to, forcing me to do college and all this stuff, and forcing me to go into corporate and get the job I got. I felt trapped. I was like, why is this my path? Right? And when I look back and I took full responsibility and I realized, oh my gosh, I chose it. It was simultaneously the moment I felt the most frustrated and mad, but also I felt super empowered because I was like, okay, well, if I created this, then I can change it. But oh my gosh, how overwhelming is that, right? How many times do we all get to this point in life? So it's really about just bringing this, right? And as I'm talking about this, right, it can be a little bit triggering. Even stuff in my own stomach right now is churning a bit. But this is where I want to remind you, right? In these moments, we can get heated thinking about this stuff, but the power of the pause in this and realizing, okay, well, what's the bigger picture here? Let me just breathe for a second. This is literally what I do. I just pause and I breathe. And then it's like, okay, so from here, how do I move? And then realizing, okay, like, let me think more clearly. I can actually do something about this. I can change it, right? And it's just kind of operating in that headspace. So, so anyway, so I want to give you gals 7 rules that I live by in no particular order. that I really love. And I also want you to know, as you're kind of designing your own rules in your own game, it's important to know that it's going to be like building a muscle as you're like incorporating this in your life, right? It's building a new muscle, like any reprogramming, any new anything that we're creating or trying to change. It's going to take a little bit of time, so be nice to yourself as you're incorporating these new things in. Have fun with it, and just see again little by little how you can add them in, how you can play with them, how you can bring awareness. So like I said, no particular order, but the rule number one that I have put here is, again, this is kind of, I kind of said this a little bit, but there's no rules. There's no one right way to be confident. It's all about alignment. It's about playing an alignment. When alignment, as I was talking about yesterday, honoring whatever is coming up and then being that, right? Honoring her fully, loving all sides of yourself and showing up in whatever light you are in, right? Being so unapologetic about how you feel, what you desire, and stop apologizing, right? It doesn't matter really the rules. It just matters that you operate under this kind of philosophy of when you stop apologizing, things move in your favor because you're giving very clear direction on what you require, right? And you're not apologizing for taking up space in this world. You're just like, hey, here I am. So when it comes to the fact that, so I know like saying there's no rules in a list of rules games or game rules in a game it's kind of frustrating, right? But also it's about that energy. First and foremost, it's about the energy. I really guess I could have called this energy. So in order to create more of that empowering energy, you just have to really get clear, like, what does confident mean to you? Really choosing, and maybe if confident doesn't align for you, right? Choosing a word that you want to step into, and then creating creating a visual for what that is, right? And then stepping into it. So maybe think like your alter ego, think like you could go to Pinterest and create this, right? But just getting a visual. So for me, for example, like I put like, okay, so the energy that I'm really tapping into lately is like queen energy, right? And this knowing of like it's already done. So I get to design her. I get to feel into her. I get to decide like how does she move? How does she think? How does she express herself? How does she show up in the world? And I just little by little, right? I'm kind of choosing into her. And as I kind of play with stepping in this new character that's really not a character, it's just a different side of myself, right? That I'm choosing to share with the world. It has me feeling better. It has me feeling more excited and like, ooh, what are we doing today? Right. And I don't feel alone. That's another part of it. You don't feel as alone. Um, and then you can also, sometimes we forget that we chose this thing, right? Life happens. So what I did was I created little associations that help me tap back in. So for example, I'm like, okay, well, what reminds me of a queen? So sometimes it's like big rings and things, or the color red, right? I keep it simple, but anytime I see red, I'm like, boom, it makes me think queen in my mind. Like this little live button is red. What are the chances? But hey, the queen is here. It's that kind of feeling every time I see it. So think about what those are for you, right? That can snap you back into that person you've claimed that you want to be, right? That you've said you're deciding to step into. So that's the first thing. And if at any point I'm saying this stuff and anything's resonating with you, or you're feeling like, ooh, wait, like that's kind of you're like, okay, I need like dive deeper on that. Let me know and we'll kind of dive in. But continuing on, another rule. Okay, this is I mean it's my rule for myself, but this is something I want so badly for you women to dive into. Give yourself grace. I don't want you to worry if you mess up anymore, right? We've got to it's so important to just trust that every stumble, every mess up, every time we feel like we've just like are things working right, I just want you to trust like it's all happening for you. You're doing perfect. You're exactly where you're supposed to be. You're enough, right? And just giving yourself some grace in the process. Sometimes it's especially because I know all of you in here very high achievers. I know you're doing so much in your life. That's why you're here, right? You're wanting to up level. You're wanting to move into these higher planes, right? But when we do that, when we're this kind of person, it's really easy to be perfectionists. It's really easy to continue to raise the bar and then not, and then every time we get close, we like raise it up again. And so it just is this constant feeling of we can't see how far we've come, right? We can't see all the greatness, as we're living it. We're just like, man, I'm not where I want to be. So giving yourself grace is so, so important. And it will allow you to ease up and come back into that trust and come back into that, okay, I am safe. And then be willing to, and then right once you're there, then you're willing to play. It's really hard to be willing to play as the feminine being that you are when you're stressed, right? And when you're, and so one way to release that is to give yourself some relief in the process. Another example of this is, so when so back in the day, when I was first starting my business, so I guess only like a couple years ago, but anyways, when I was first starting my business, I had posted, a ton of content in there, like on social, and I just was posting all these things. And as I was posting and stuff, and as I grew and as I started to just like change a lot of my philosophies and stuff, I had so many desires to take that down. I was like, oh my gosh, I don't even know if I like want that to like represent me and my brand anymore. Like the videos weren't great and all this stuff. And I was like initially really hard on myself. But when I stopped and thought about it, I was like, wait, no. If I'm going to fully love and accept myself and give myself some grace in the process, what I'm going to do is instead of shaming that version of me and wish it was different and take it down, what I'm going to do is I'm going to honor and accept that version of myself and keep it up, because you never know who might see it or not, and feel like, wow, like, she's where I am or where I used to be, or like, and just feel connected to that, and allow somebody else to feel hope in their process too. Or even besides that, right? It's about me accepting every version of myself, including what I chose to share with the world at that time of my evolution. So part of giving yourself grace is looking at all the evidence of your trail of you coming into who you are, and looking at it with love, looking at it and saying, I love every ounce of that journey that you experience, and every mess up and every stumble, because you were there, you were evolving, you learned, you were present, right? I'm so proud of you, right? And just building her up. And I'm telling you, when you can really focus on that, with like all like focusing on to like take away all the idea of just being like confident now. Like, yes, that's important, but to be a truly confident person, you can look back at your past moments and love her so deeply that you fall in love with that version of yourself. And that's almost like we're going into like inner child stuff almost. But that's really when you can look at your past and not want to delete stuff, but look at it with so much love. That's when you've stepped into another level of self-acceptance and confidence. Because confidence is a true, full acceptance of the holistic version of you and every single part of her, no matter how she shows up, right? And the more you do that, you're gonna be willing to continue showing up, no matter how what light you're in. So I know that was a lot of words, but I just thought it was so important for me to share. Gotta honor your journey and look at yourself with kindness, not just physically, right? But all the experiences, love her, right? There's a lot of times I look back and I'm like, for example, I had the opportunity after college to go live abroad for 7 months, and I loved it. But sometimes I look back and I'm like, man, I spent that entire 7 months stressed, full of anxiety, freaking out because I needed to get a job when I got back and I had no idea what I was going to do. So a lot of me did not fully enjoy that experience. I was not fully present in those 7 months. And I sometimes have a little bit of regret and like frustration about that. But I also know that was the old version of me. And if I didn't experience that deep desire if I didn't experience that complete contrast of a person to who I am now, I don't think that I would have fully appreciate who I am now. I also don't think that I would fully go into all my future travels from realizing I don't want to travel like that anymore. I don't think I would go into any of those future travels with the gratitude and the soaking in every single moment, bringing sensuality into my entire experience. if I wasn't that version of me. So we've got to look at those versions of ourselves with absolute love, absolute acceptance, and take a second to understand why they were the way they were. Part of why we don't ever feel super confident about ourselves is because the undesirable traits within us, a lot of times, it's because we just don't understand them. We're not taking time to understand those pieces within us. It's like when you're I've used this example before, it's kind of silly, but you think about like in school, if you ever were in a classroom and like there was always like a kid or a couple kids in the classroom that you're like, I just don't get them. They're just so weird. Like, why are they saying that stuff? Like, stop it. And they were so irritating, you know? And then I don't know, my luck, I always ended up in a group with those kids. I always ended up in like okay, now pair up. Now you're in, these are your reading groups or whatever. And I was like forced to be in a group with that kid. And then I started talking and I was like, sometimes they didn't talk much, but sometimes I was in these groups and these kids, like, I was like, wow, this person's so cool. I didn't even know. They just don't, they're just a little bit different. And I released like anything they did from that point on, like didn't trigger me anymore. I was just like, oh, okay, I get it. That's no different than the undesirable things within ourselves. It's so true. So I really want you guys to see it that way. If there's ever a part of you that you're like having a hard time accepting or having a hard time giving grace to, I want you to understand it's just because you just don't understand that part of yourself. And all you have to do is just start being willing to sit with it and ask, right? Ask, why, ask where it's coming from. Ask, connect with yourself a little bit more and you will find that grace and it will allow you to deeply love yourself and have this deep acceptance. And that is a building block for confidence. That's like the foundation of, and I'm just scrolling over here. Hi, Nicole. Oh, so lovely to see you on. Thanks for joining. So just getting into the next one here. So I'll try to keep these other ones a little bit brief because I know I kind of went on the other ones, but, so the next one, ladies, ooh, this is so important. Rule number 4, again, no particular order. We have got to get clear on what it is we want. Okay, as a life and career coach and a confidence coach and somebody who I've been a coach and a mentor since actually middle school. That's a whole other story, but it's just been part of my life for about 20 years now and professionally for about 3 years now. And I can confidently tell you, women, I know there's like this old adage that's like, women don't know what they want. Men always say like, oh, women don't know what they want. They're crazy. Women are not crazy. We're powerful. But I will say many of you do not know what you want. And it is creating all kinds of issues in your life. You don't have a roadmap for what you want. There's no vision for what you want. And it is leading you astray. And I will say for a very long time, I was floating around. I thought I knew what I wanted, but I didn't have a big picture. If you cannot answer what is the big mission in your life, and everybody has one. You don't have to be a coach. You don't have to be a business owner to have a mission, right? You get to have a mission because you are that important in this world. You're a woman. You're a woman and you're alive and that's enough, right? But you're allowed to have a mission. You're allowed to be living for something greater than you, right? And the reason that's important is because that helps you design your structure for your life, and it helps you tune into the synchronicities. So it's super important to get about the business of designing your life. I know they say like imagination and create and like vision boards and stuff is for like little kids or whatever. It's like hokey. It is so important. You've got to give yourself some kind of a roadmap. Imagination is really a lost art. It's viewed as like child's play, but it's so important. You've got to get a sense of what you want in your life, what you want, and really break it down, right? Really get specific. This is the biggest issue I see. This is why so many women that I coach feel lost. They feel lost by like stuck in their lives. They don't know what they want. They feel unfulfilled. It's because they haven't designed their vision. And I will tell you, it's not fixed. Right? My vision changes. I like redesign it every 6 months. I get more and more specific because I've created this kind of roadmap. And as I've started to move along, I'm like, oh, I have more clarity on really what I meant by that. And so So that helps me know how to move. And and like I said earlier, right, the person with the most clarity wins. I don't mean winning like you outbeat other people. I just mean you feel like you're winning in your life. The more clear you are, the more confident you feel. How you create that is you create a vision for your life. You get so clear on what it is you want that nobody can tell you otherwise. You know, I'll tell you, I've had many people tell me that I need to stay in my own lane. That when I first started my business as an interior designer, that coaching just didn't make sense. They were like, why would you change so quickly? And I was like, because I feel a calling to do more. Because I know in my heart I'm meant to serve more people. And design is not going to get me there, and it actually doesn't feel aligned. I ignored what other people said and I moved towards it. And now, as a career coach, I'm starting to feel the same nudge in the sense of I love coaching, but I'm feeling this calling to dive deeper into this kind of content, this empowerment work, this divine feminine energy, this sexy confidence stuff. This is what feels connected to me. But I've had many people tell me, stay in your lane. You are a career coach. You do resumes and LinkedIn. And I go, then you don't know me at all, because we go so much deeper. I would never just do LinkedIn and resumes with people. It would, it wouldn't do anybody a disservice, because it would just lead to temporary happiness instead of actually holistically helping people at the core, helping them change their actual belief in themselves, which then sparks this clarity on what you really want. There's so much, so much stuff. So anyways, I say all of that because if I didn't have a clear vision for what I wanted before I started this entrepreneurship journey, you better believe people would have been pushing me around and I would have been listening, because I'm like, I don't know, that sounds right? Right? People are very convincing, but you've got to have your own compass. You've got to really feel that for yourself. So what I want you to do is, moving forward, I want you to spend time, right? This is why also people struggle, is because they feel like they don't have the time to spend on designing their life. Yes, it can take time. Like when I first wrote out my entire vision, it took me a couple hours. I'm not going to lie to you. I actually had to turn down like a dinner because I felt really inspired in that moment. I was like, I really feel like I need to write this. And so I sat down with it. And that's actually, I will tell you, deciding that you were going to get clear on your vision in your life, it's not convenient. When I created this, before this Facebook community existed, before the Goddess Collective existed as a thing, I was hosting Zoom sessions, and all of that clarity came in this like nudge to just do it now, came in the middle of a brunch with a friend. It was a friend I was so excited to see. We were like an hour into our brunch, and all of a sudden this download was like, you need to go create this. You need to go create this. You need to go create this. And I was like, this is the most inconvenient time ever. And it's not to say that I couldn't have done it later, but I was in such a heat of inspiration that I don't think it would have been as potent as it was. And that is what has led to so many different things, right? It's led to the podcast, multiple books, so many people I've connected with, different networking opportunities. It's led me to creating this within this container. I have, you never know where it's going to go. But anyways, you've got to get clear. I'm so passionate on that. And it's time to start saying, you know what? I'm sick of not knowing what I want in my life. So I'm going to sit down and take the time to get clear. You and your future and your life and everybody in your life deserve you getting clear on what you want, so you can start feeling like, oh my God, I actually have a sense of direction for my life, right? So get clear on what you want. Also, I want to emphasize this so much. Don't worry about timelines. Oh my goodness. So many people stop themselves at the start because they're so worried about timelines. They're so worried about like, well, I just feel, can I really do this now? Like I'm such and such age. I have family. I have kids. I've got all these things. Can I really do this? Right. And I just, there's all these limitations people start to buy into for themselves the moment they want to go bigger, which is also why working with somebody is so important, right? Because you get out of your own way, right? You can get a shift that's going to help game change everything for you. So anyways, so I wanted to give you guys some fun little facts that I found about people that made it later in life, right? I'm sitting here at 31 feeling like, man, I wish I had started this at like 21, but you know what? I'm not 41, and who cares if I was, right? Who cares if I was 71? Who cares, right? I saw So I was looking up like different people that made it later in life, and there was one person who I can't remember. Oh God, I wish I wrote it down because it was a big one. Literally started. Was it like the Bernstein Bears author or something? I don't know, but this I think it was an author started at 96. Okay, that's real late, but like they're not dead. They weren't dead. Like 96 years old, right? Like you can start anytime, right? But you got to give yourself the ability to and know that the moment you design your life is a perfect time. Perfect time. So I wanted to give you these. So Vera Wang, I didn't know this, didn't design her first dress until 40. I was like, I have no idea. I thought she was designing out the womb. Jeff Bezos launched Amazon at 35. I didn't know that. I thought he was I thought he wasn't even 20 yet or something. That's the story I told myself. Samuel L. Jackson, he made it big. I think it said 43, but he was definitely in his 40s when he made it big. And actress Melissa McCarthy, so like Bridesmaids, she's so famous. She's in all these things. She started in her 30s and then she made it big in her 40s. Those are just a couple of examples. I literally found this huge list and I was like, okay, I could bore them to tears with like naming all these people, but I say all this because I want you to know there's no such thing as timelines. You just get it off the table. Don't worry about it. That's I'm drilling this in because this is one of the things that stops people the most for going for what they really want. They're like, I just don't know. Like I should have done this already. Like I'm behind, right? Screw that. What I want you to know is if you have a gift to give to the world, you are doing the most selfish thing by not showing up to give it. Right? There's people that need the gift that only you have to give. It's absolute fact. One of my mentors told me that at the beginning when I was like, I don't know if I can do this, right? This feels really hard. And she was like, literally, you have such a gift inside of you. If you don't go for it, if you don't keep showing up, there's people that are not going to get their lives changed. And I operate under that mentality almost every single day that I can think about that. I remember that. So I want you to really tune in and know that that's true for you too. If you're hearing this, that's for you as well. And so, yeah, so super important. Another thing I want you guys to remember. So I'm kind of lost track of what number I'm at, but another rule is women set the tone. I want you to remind yourself of your greatness. Women are incredible. We're literally the life source. We're so important. We have all these natural gifts and abilities that men don't have. That was a big part of why I wanted you to talk. Yesterday I wanted to dive into intuition, or excuse me, I wanted to dive into our bodies and talk about the power of our bodies past sexuality, right? It's not even about that. It's about the fact that we can feel so deeply into our bodies. We're so powerful, and it's what allows us to be guided by our intuition. And our intuition, we have such a different one than men have, and it can be this compass and this guiding light, and give you this deep feeling of serenity and peace, like you're taken care of because you have this knowing of the truth. And I don't want to downplay this. This is something that is really, really only for women. I really believe that. Like men, they have their stuff, but like they have to really work for that. Women, we just have this. If you just pause and sit in stillness more and honor your body and honor yourself and start to love on yourself, your intuition will start to get louder. It will start to speak to you and guide you stronger. So operating under this kind of mentality and this knowing that you are pure greatness, man, like you think about how much your days and lives would change if you could just come back to remembering that. And if you need a freaking reminder, message me and I will cheerlead you all day. I'll literally get in your DMs and send you a message of why I think you're great. And it'll be like genuine too. I really, really mean that. Like I'm so done with women not feeling enough, because we're not only the prize, we are everything. We are everything. Oh my gosh. There's this saying, have you ever seen, if somebody has, please let me know in the chat, seen My Big Fat Greek Wedding. That's one of my favorite movies. I used to always say, it makes me better when I'm sick, kind of thing. And literally the mom in the movie, she turns to her daughter who's kind of feeling down about herself for something. It's been a minute since I've seen it. But she was like, men might, in her Greek accent, she was like, men might be the head, but women are the neck and can turn it any way she wants. And I love that because I was like, oh gosh, women are so powerful. We're always, we know that we know the truth, right? We know the reality of stuff. And it's funny because sometimes we can feel so misunderstood, or I spent a lot of my life feeling like people thought I just didn't get it or that I was like dumb. But really, I was just, I mean, I'm so cerebral, and like my brain has a brain. So I'm just like taking in and analyzing and really trying to respond in a way that feels like it's the words that I want to say. So, but sometimes it comes out slower and then I don't get time to respond. And so I was always kind of looked at as not understanding. So I had to get over that. But as I grew up, I was like, no, no, no. I understand deeper what's going on. I just don't need to shout out to the world and prove anything. And I feel like so many women are I don't want to put words in your mouths, right? But I feel like a lot of women are kind of like that. We're so smart. We're so intelligent. We know the truth of what's going on. It's our intuition, right? And so we got to start operating under the idea of freaking owning that, owning your power and knowing that you're amazing, you're badass. Like there's so much you have available to you, but we, like I was talking about yesterday, we can dim our light so easily. We can dim our light and we lose our life force, and then we feel like victims a little bit, and like, oh gosh, I just need to do more and be more. But the truth is, you're enough and you're more than enough. And if it wasn't for you and your energy and your life force and your source, right, the people around you wouldn't even feel like enough. That's how powerful you are. Oh my God, I'm like turning Italian. I'm like, I don't know. I'm just like, this is so important. Okay. And so or actually, no. Okay. So, a couple more rules, ladies. How are we doing? How are we doing out there? How are we doing? So another rule that I live by, a non-negotiable, is that women that feel really empowered have community around them. And I say this because it's not just about like having a book club, or it's like, okay, well, I have my, my boyfriend and our friends, or my husband and our friends, or whatever. No, no, no. Women need their own special like-minded community that is separate from all of that, because we actually we there's a I was actually kind of trying to research some brain science on this, because I know that there's differences in the male and female brain, and because of the ways that our brains connect. So we connect really so men's brains connect more at like the top of the hemispheres, which makes them more logical, pragmatic, very like trying to fix things. And women, our brains connect within the hemispheres, like underneath, like in the hemisphere, is kind of what I gathered. And so because of that, we need, like, we're really we can like feel the emotions, and we're more like analyzing versus just like being very like seeing it for just matter of fact. So, and with that, because our brains are different, because we have different needs, like our gosh, I'm like not the best at giving this information, but because our brains are just different, we require different things to feel safe. And one of those things that women need to survive, that actually, like our pituitary glands are different. There's another one, I can't remember what it's called. But because those are different, we like, it literally changes the game. For like, community is something that we really need, is what I'm trying to say. And it literally goes down to a like scientific biological level. Like, we need community in order to thrive, in order to feel safe, in order to get out of fight or flight. And so it is so important, ladies, for you to, if you want to thrive and feel more confident, you have got to make finding a community a priority. And this is something that I always felt like I didn't have time for, I didn't want to really be a part of, right? So I like eventually made my own. And I was like, I want like-minded ladies in my life. Like, I'm going to bring them to me, right? That was like a component of this whole thing, but then it's obviously grown into more. But I will tell you, like, being in, like, having friends that are different than the friends I have with my partner, that are like-minded, where I can nerd out and talk about spirituality, and I can talk about, all kinds of like feminine energy. I can talk about all this stuff that I love, that fulfills me. It helps me fill my cup and feel so confident that I created that in my own life for me. I'm not relying on these other like things over here, it's like I have my own communities, my own groups. I have multiple masterminds that I've invested into that felt really good and aligned, and they help me honor different sides of myself. I feel very seen, very loved, and it's something that happens on a weekly basis. So every week I'm getting this fulfillment factor. So I'm filling my cup, I'm connecting with people, I'm helping myself decrease this like fight or flight and leaning into trust just by sinking into these communities, right? And it's so important. And really, when there's one deep truth. So, earlier I was saying people are always asking, what do women really want? They're so confused, they don't know what they want. The answer to that is women want deep, intimate connection and to be seen. That is the truth. That is what women want. They want to be seen, adored, appreciated, desired. And the thing is, we've got to do this for ourselves first, yes. But when you get clear on what you want, when you start to know yourself more, right? And you can do this discovery work within a community. That's super important too. But when you get clear and you know yourself, then you're able to find a community that's actually going to spark that within you, right? Like it wasn't until I started doing my deep dive spiritual work that I knew, oh, I need a spiritual community to help really heighten this, right? To allow this part of me to thrive, because there's certain parts of my life outside of this that like it just kind of, I don't give the space. So if I have the community we're already going there, I'm getting that fulfillment every week. So I want you guys to make sure that your homework for yourself is finding a community to be a part of. Ideally, right, in person, but we're in a virtual world right now. All of my connections in all of my communities are virtual. Or if I have my really strong core group of girlfriends, or like 4 of us, or 4 or 5 of us, we'll travel to see each other every year. We travel every year to like do a group trip because it's that important to us. But otherwise we do Zoom calls. We do group Zoom calls often. Like we were doing it like every month, but it's dwindled a little bit, but we text all the time. So it's just making sure you have this kind of non-negotiable rule, and then seeing how you want to add it into your life, and knowing that community is literally going to game change your life. I'm telling you, and it's going to uplift you. And then I don't know what rule number we're at, but gratitude as a home base. It's an absolute non-negotiable. And I talked about this yesterday, but if you're ever feeling super just like stuck, frustrated, depleted, you don't know where to turn, hopeless, lost in life, forever feeling those, coming back to gratitude. You literally don't even have to believe it in the moment, but you start counting gratitudes that will literally change your state. It will help you flip your current reality, and it'll allow you to meet yourself where you're at, and then flip it from there. And so another thing you can do if you want to take it a step further to just really enhance your feeling of gratitude is sharing it with others. Right. So after an experience, let's say you go to a party, or you hang out with a friend, or you do a dinner, or somebody does something for you, not just appreciating it, right, and being like, oh God, that was amazing, I'm so grateful for that experience, keeping it internal to yourself, but making the effort to reach out to another person that was involved in the experience with you, message them, call them or whatever, and just let them know, hey, that was so awesome, I love that with you. And then getting specific, not just saying I love that experience, but saying thank you so much. Like when you did this, when you made that specific part of the meal yesterday, that was so delicious, and I so appreciated that. Right? It amplifies the gratitude, and it feels so good for both people, and then it like creates this ball of momentum from there. And so if you can just tell yourself, even if you get nothing else from this, gratitude as your home base, your life will change. You will feel more uplifted. And if you're not noticing already, all of this stuff, right? Like I'm not just like saying, okay, confidence is this, be this to be confident, do this and feel more confident. It's confidence. I want to cap a lot of this, like these last, 2 days together. Confidence is an umbrella. Confidence is a big umbrella. That's why it takes a lot. That's why when we're feeling, oh, I just can't feel like I'm trying to have more of it, I want to feel more confident. Why isn't it there? We're chasing this idea of confidence. It's because it is layered. There's so much to it. Confidence really at the end of the day is self-acceptance. It is a deep self-acceptance. But if you don't know already, Self-acceptance is a lot of work. There's a lot of stuff to do to get there. So you've got to be dedicated. You've got to stay consistent. You've got to show up. You've got to be willing to create these kinds of non-negotiable lists for yourself. You've got to take time to design your life. You've got to take time to work with somebody, to be like really have a lot of self-awareness, own how you're feeling, be willing to do it little by little by little by little every single day. This is stuff that I've been doing now for, really dedicating to my process on this since 2016. So that's what, 6 years now. And I'm really starting to come into it, but it has been a process. And I've been even working with people, right? It's a process. But if you dedicate yourself to it, you start to feel more at ease. And the confidence, it doesn't become something that you're just like trying to be. It becomes who you are. And that's really, at the end of the day, that's what this is about, is becoming that true embodied version of who you've always wanted to be. Like that it feels so good. It feels so good. And these are different ways you get there, but you stay consistent with it, right? You practice this stuff over time. And before you know it, you start to notice life gives to you differently. It starts to feel easier. Life is actually not supposed to be really hard. And when I first learned that, I was really pissed. Because then I was like, tell me I didn't just go through all of that by my own doing. Life is actually not supposed to be full of suffering and frustration. It is actually supposed to be very pleasure filled, very happy. The problem is, like, we suffer by choice, but it's a lot of times we don't even realize we're choosing into it. So the hardest thing we can do is to step into this most confident version of yourself. I'm going to tell you right now, you decide to be a confident person, you want to do all this stuff, it's going to be a bit of a journey. It's gonna be not just like saying affirmations and doing these non-negotiable lists. It's gonna really test you a bit. It's gonna bring some stuff to the surface that needs to slough and get out of the way before you can fully be that embodied, confident person. But it's all perfect. And when you do that, then you start to realize, oh wow, life really is blissful, right? Life really is supposed to be like this. Like life gets to be like this, right? It gets to be like this. So yeah, ladies, I hope you enjoy that list. Your homework, of course, I can't not give you guys some to-do items to really put this stuff into practice, past what I've already shared with you, right? So and please, after this, let me know what you think of this, how how these homework soul assignments go for you. So what I want you to do, step number 1 this week, is I want you to write out your non-negotiables in your life. Create your life rules list, just like I kind of walked you through some of mine. And I want you to play with implementing them little by little. You could even write it out. You could put it on a big board and just kind of write in pretty colors, pretty pens and stuff. Write out your non-negotiables list. And have that for you. See what your values are, what you stand for, and do it on the basis of, I'm designing this as if I was already that super confident person I said I wanted to be. Who is she? What does she believe? What are her values? And you start operating in that way, because it's really hard to create these lists from a place that feels maybe a little less empowered and a little less like, in that fierceness that we're kind of going for. So really think about that, like that alter ego version of you I was talking about. See how she operates. The next thing, I want you to practice moving slower, pausing, and I'm talking about slow everything down, right? And it's going to be a little annoying at first, but I want you to practice slowing down your response times to people. You're slowing down your talking. Even I'm like trying to slow it down as I'm saying this. I'm like, okay, it's a little too slow for this live. Slow down your walking, eating, decisions on anything, right? Like for the longest time, I would never pause in my decision making. I was very reactive because I was a people pleaser. I was like, yeah, of course I can do it. And then later I'd be like, why did I commit to that? And I'd be like super drained of my energy. So I want you guys to practice pausing, in your response times, and in your decision making. And I want you to notice how it makes you feel. Really tune in doing these things. Tune into your body. Ask how your body feels. See what comes up. Sometimes things don't come up until you ask. So make sure you're prioritizing asking your body. And then another thing, a bonus homework for you gals, is knowing that if you want to be a confident person, it means you own your life. And part of owning your life is owning your voice, right? Is not being afraid to be heard and be seen and sharing your truth with the world. So no matter if you're a business owner, doing anything where you like your profession, requires you to be seen, regardless of any of that, right? It's getting comfortable with hearing your words, hearing your voice, feeling safe in your truth. And so what I'd love for you ladies to do to tap into a more confident like feeling within yourself is really give the chance to hear your own voice. Empowerment comes from when we understand and connect to ourselves, like I said, on a more consistent basis. So I would love for you gals to voice note yourself, really talking through, like be your own therapist for a second. Just talk. Just see what comes up. Just kind of talk through anything you're stuck on or kind of feeling like you're going through a voice note, and then listen to it later. Listen back, hear yourself. And I want you to pick up, what do I notice, right? What do I notice within myself as I'm hearing my voice? And the more we do that, the less afraid we actually become to share our truth. And those are a couple key power plays you can make to become a more confident version of yourself. You can start stepping into her now. Hi, Amanda. Yes, it's hard at first. It's actually so nice. Yes, right. Oh my gosh. So we worked together. I remember, yes, I was like, okay, just surrender or just surrender, just be, right. Just move slower than you want to. And it can literally be the most, the most frustrating thing because it's not our programming at all. Like even yesterday when I gave the example of I was putting lotion on myself after the shower and I was putting it on and my brain was like, slower. There was something maybe down there. It was like slower. And I was like, okay, so this is really slow. And I was just like, wow, this is like taking forever. And so I was but it's just embracing the surrender of moving slower. And when you do that, yeah, you'll surprise yourself at how much it allows you to connect to yourself and create some love. And again, like I said, that's a building block of confidence. So ladies, oh my gosh. Wow. This mastermind has meant so much to me because this is stuff that is really honored to share. This is the stuff that matters to me. And I feel like, man, we literally only just got started. There's so much. So if any of this is feeling, intriguing to you, exciting to you, you want to dive deeper because you're feeling something here, right? I want you to honor that. I would love to connect with you and set up a one-on-one. It's a free one-on-one conversation. And the link I've already put in the comments, but I'll make sure I post that in the group another time. But I want to help you, whether you're interested in the Confidence Academy that launches in January, and you want to sign up for that now and get me in your back pocket for 2 months, so you are guaranteed to start 2023 feeling on top of the world and already transforming your life, moving towards the goals that you have, and you don't want to wait to start a resolution because if you're just waiting, then you're missing 2 months to start, right? So if you're ready to transform, if you're ready to really feel confident now, and you're done being in your own way, book a call with me, set some time. I would be honored to connect with you. It's a free conversation, and it allows me to give you customized advice. So whether we work together after that call or not, you're going to leave that call with value. That's my absolute guarantee. I believe in nothing else. So I'd be honored to work with you. But yeah, if you want to work with me in the Confidence Academy, the investment on that is 2222. And I do payment plans and all the things, but I'm honored. So a little bit on that. It's a group experience plus one-on-one with me, so we can amplify your results. I've got guest speakers coming in, some really cool human design stuff with that. I've got a whole online academy. Like, there's just so much juiciness that I've created in this program that feels like it's my life work. It feels like if you're feeling my energy on this, could you imagine one-on-one with me for 3 months? Actually 5 months, because you're going to get me for 2 months. Depending on if you start with me now, you're going to get me for 2 months plus another 3 months plus a very, very decided on, like a very intimate, I'm going to be specifically picking the women, after my calls with people, to be part of that community, that group community. So it is super special and intimate and allows us to feel really safe in our expansion. And then you get to work with me one-on-one at the same time. So anyways, I would love to share more of that with you. So excited and honored. Honestly, thank you all for being part of this and trusting me. Oh, thank you so much for joining me, Amanda. Seriously, it means the world. So yeah, so thank you all for being part of this. I want you to know, like, this isn't something that is just like, yay, I want to connect and put on a little live or whatever. No, this content, I'm telling you, it came through me that I was supposed to do this. So I went for it. I trusted, right? I did everything that I'm telling you gals, right? I leaned into trust on this. And I believe that this is information that if you really take it seriously, if you re-listen, I know these lives are long, but if you re-listen back to them and you really start to implement this stuff in your life, you will not recognize your life a week from now, 30 days from now, whatever. Like, it will be so different. And I'm so passionate about this because you women are amazing and you deserve to know that and to feel that with every fiber of your being. And I'm telling you, as a woman who used to be so unconfident, I was so far from who I am now. And if I just would have dreamed, to feel like this and to be here in this place where I feel like I can teach on this subject. It feels like a full circle moment. It feels surreal, and it feels like, oh my gosh, I get why I was that person before, because I was always supposed to experience that so then I could come in and be this for you guys and help you get out of this feeling too, that I was in before. You don't deserve to be there anymore. You're too special, and you have so much to give. And I know if you're watching this, right, and you're in this room with me, like, you feel that too. You're made for more. And so my entire mission and what I do, my mission, right, is to help women step into that power, to create more in their life, to start believing in themselves so they don't hold themselves back anymore. You don't let the world tell you that you're not enough. You start tuning down that noise, and you start to believe it with every fiber of your being, right? We're going to get your body, your energy, your mind, your spirit, all of it involved. So anyways, I'm so grateful for all of you. Thank you for indulging with me these last 2 days. It's been super fun and super juicy and just a dream. Truly a dream. This is my kind of girl chat. Okay, my loves. Well, if you need anything, you know how to find me, you know how to reach me. Please let me know what you grab from this. I would love to see, in the comments, any takeaways, anything you're going to try, and any aha moments. Please, please, please share them in here or in the community in the future. Okay, my loves. Signing off. Bye.